Welcome to Cutting Down the Nets, March 9th edition. This is the day the big boys start to play as the ACC conference tournament gets tipped, and we will follow suit tomorrow with the rest of the major conferences. This is kind of the last day of the small school highlights, in my opinion, and we've got some weird names on the card today, that's for darn sure. Today's show is brought to you by the Book of Mormon. Some guys in short sleeve dress shirts with black ties came to my house at 1 o'clock last night and took my profits for the day as BYU fails to cover against Pepperdine. That was a fringe play, shouldn't have played it, and went there anyway. So lessons learned. We did get two dogs to win outright. Oral Roberts ran like the sun and luckily avoided overtime because I think it may have caught up with them in overtime. Mercer, man, what a game. I think 13 ties, 16 lead changes, something like that. It was pretty much an even game. 3 minutes to go, it was tied, and Mercer's fourth game in 4 days kind of caught up with them. That game was a masterclass in how not to cover a spread, and both teams attended that class. I think Mercer missed its last 7 3-pointers that were uncontested, and Greensboro missed maybe 9 of their last 10 free throws and bricked a dunk with 10 seconds left in the game, which opened up Mercer for one final uncontested 3-pointer that would have pushed, which I think is perfect because neither team deserved to cover that game. So Mercer getting one last shot for a push, I think, would have been a desirable outcome. So over the last 88 games, we're 55.7, but our overall stretch, we just cannot shake the 50%. Just paying juice every night. That's what we do. So let's get to today's schedule. Something to note, if you are predicting your own efficiencies, please note that Bryant is at home against Mount St. Mary's. They're second to the bottom on the list. So if you had that as a neutral court game, you might see it as a play. But that actually is taking place at Bryant. That's how the NEC does their conference tournament. So looking at this card, I'm in on the top 4. Incarnate Word is being monitored right now. If I got a 3, I'll play it. I'm holding out for a good number. That keeps creeping up. Notre Dame, similar situation. So what I did here is I have 2 profiles for Notre Dame. They have a couple extreme outliers, like where they gave up 1.3 points per possession against Boston College, or adjusted points per possession. They have a game where they just didn't shoot well. And if you just leave it as is, I've got them around 11. If you remove them and massage a little bit, you get to like 13. But this line is probably going to go up. So I'm just going to stay away. I'm going to pass. It's a pretty big number on a neutral court for a team like Notre Dame. Pitt and Miami, I'm just going to stay out of there because Pitt didn't lose. Pitt had its best 2 players, or 2 of its best 3 players, leave the program with like 3 games left in the season. So I don't have much data without them. I mean, their offense dropped, but their defense looked fine. It's just not worth going there. I think it's an unpredictable situation. Never know if both these teams. I mean, they'll give it a try here, try to get to the dance and win 4-4. But I don't think either team, if they're being honest with themselves, would be frustrated with getting this over with, with the way their seasons have ended. Here's a story on Gonzaga. I think you take Gonzaga first half bets, and they will probably be up by 15 to 20 points, and then you just sit the rest of the game out. And if they are down or up like 3 at the half and you lost your bet, then I would bet them on the second half. If you lose your first half bet by like a point or 2, I'd probably just like sit the game out and be like, well, we shot our shot. So I consistently have value in whoever Gonzaga is playing from a standpoint, and it's kind of like betting against Kansas City Chiefs. Like, sure, there might be value. That spread's probably inflated, but when you're down 28-3 in the first quarter, put on your clown nose because you knew that was possible. So I have zero interest in betting against Gonzaga at this point. So let's proceed with our official plays and why we chose them. Long Beach State +2. We have them favored by 5.3. But be patient here because I think you could get a better number. 2.5 is definitely coming, and you may get 3. So just be cautious, and if it doesn't happen, bite on the 2. That's fine. Elon, we ride on. That number I'd like to get at 3.5 or better. There's currently 4s out there, and I think you're going to get a 4.5, which would be perfect for me. So I'm willing to have some patience here, especially with these underdogs, because typically the favorites just get bet up. We saw it yesterday. Elon lost like 1.5 of value in the final 60 minutes before tip. So again, I'm just going to have patience and kind of ride it out. Cal Poly sucks, but so does Cal State Fullerton. So I'll take the 6 points here. And you can see the efficiencies. I mean, they have 2 different ways of getting there, but this is a fairly even match. So 2 possessions in a game like this I will take, and 6.5 would be awesome. Next up, I can't say McNeese State without saying Mayor McCheese. So that is their picture today. They have kind of a weird profile, as does Sela. That's what happens when you have bad, high variance teams. I have this line somewhere between 4.9 and 7.2. I ultimately had to make a decision. I landed on 6.8. I kind of hedged a little bit on what data I was using. Both these teams have inconsistent defensive profiles, and it's kind of splitting hairs. They're both awful defensive teams. It's just both of them have some spikes in places. So I am fine with 2.5. I would quit at 3, though. I think McNeese State gets it done. I think they win. And I think that's a fair number. But that is a game that I do not want to chase the steam on if it got above 3. So, again, big boys play tomorrow, so we may start to filter out some of these garbage teams, but today feels like the day. Let's make it happen. Thanks for stopping by, Cutting Down the Net.